Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Gotham Chess Slow Run. And indeed, welcome back. If you have been watching the series since episode 1, this is episode 45, you would know that this, right now, is August 2026. And I just went to Paris for the Esports World Cup. So I was there for a week. If you followed it, fantastic. Please do keep up with the recaps. I'm actually going to rename them. They're named the usual goofy Gotham stuff, but they will be renamed to Esports World Cup, day 1, day 2, etc. I promise, all right? And I'm a little jet lagged. It's my first day back. Woke up at 4 in the morning today because my brain thinks that it's 10 a.m. So we're going to continue the slow run. We're 1750. And I have to tell you, I have not felt threatened at 1700. I don't know what it is. I don't know how the rating ladder works. But 1700 has not felt as intense as 15 and 1600. So if you're stuck at 15 and 1600, just know that it might even get a little easier once you break out of what is traditionally known as, I guess, Elo Hell. That's what they call it. Anyway, I'm going to kick things off. I have the black pieces. My opponent plays d4. I've played many openings in the slow run against d4. There's nothing wrong with going symmetrical queen's pawn. Let's just see what my opponent is going to play. Wow. A Blackmar Gambit. It's cool. Blackmar Deemer Gambit. So they're offering me this pawn. Now, you can take this pawn. The funny thing is you can actually turn this into a French or a Caro-Kann. So now we're in a Caro-Kann defense. It's all right. My opponent plays knight c3. I mean, I think they're still going to play f3. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait for them to put this knight on f3. And if they play f3... then we are playing a fantasy variation. So, look, I mean, I could have played the Blackmar Deemer. Now, actually, if I take this, there is no f3. It's kind of funny. So let's take now. So now there is no gambit. My opponent does have to take back. By the way, I am looking at this pawn. So knight takes e4. This would be free. Sometimes that pawn is not free. Wow. This person is so committed to playing this gambit. They are wasting a move just to play the move f3. That is actually fascinating. I mean, I don't even... Wow. So, I mean, of course, just developing here is completely normal. Now they're going to play f3. It's just... This is fiending at a level that I didn't think was possible, actually. Wow. So, look, taking this gambit is completely fine. Against that, you then have to play like bishop f5, you have to take it, play bishop f5, e6, you have to be really solid, and I will analyze it after. e3 is just a way to give back the pawn and not allow the opponent to get quick development. The other idea of this move is that you want to open up the f-file. Like, let's say you don't know what you're doing. You play something like bishop f5, which is probably okay. I mean, I don't know. Maybe g4 now is going to be played. Very aggressive move. Also, there's like bishop g5. But in general, if you develop and just defend your center and then reinforce your knight with the knight because you've developed your bishop, now everything in your position defends everything else. So this is guarding this. That's guarded. Don't go e6 because that actually opens up the pin, right? That would disallow the knight from capturing in the middle of the board. Always be vigilant here. I think one of my next moves could be just moving the queen out this way as a result of my pawn on c6. And, okay, so my opponent is actually threatening the pawn. Now, I can take. I've been sort of avoiding this for a while. I can also maybe hit this bishop, force it to go back. I could also maybe play knight b6, which targets the bishop and this pawn. So I'm meeting this gambit head on. I'm basically like, I'm trying to be creative and getting out of the responsibility of taking over. I'm going to play knight b6. I actually like this move a lot. So let's not forget, in a gambit situation, if we remove our opponent's active pieces, we're not going to be under much threat. Now, okay, they take on f6. I actually like that move. Now, there's a funny thing here. I might not actually have to take that bishop. Can I take this bishop first? This is sort of funny. Of course, pawn takes f6. There is nothing wrong with taking on f6 like this. That opens up my dark square bishop. You might be a little bit concerned that the queen is on the same line here. G takes f6 is not bad, but it opens up the bishop this way. I kind of like the fact that I get to castle a little faster. It's kind of funny. I also might be able to take on f3 now, but maybe not. Point is, I attack the queen, and this bishop is still standing here. What a fascinating little position we have on our hands. I don't think there's anything wrong with this move. Now I am jet lagged. I might blunder something, but I don't think so. Now, if the knight takes, there is a direct attack on my king. The pawn took, though, so my bishop's hanging. And, I mean, I don't see anything wrong with just moving the bishop back like this. So my opponent has regained the pawn. I'm either going to take the bishop or the pawn on the next move. Long castle here would really fit the spirit of the position. This is clearly a very aggressive player, by the way. I mean, I'm impressed with this. Let's take on c4. And I need to castle, right? Like, the opponent got basically a perfect position. So we will kind of show here how to play against the person that is playing hyper aggressive chess, right? Like attacking us, you know, with no hesitation. I have another option to mirror and castle queenside, but I'm not sure which of these two moves is better. I also have to play a little faster, right? So let me just play bishop e7 and castle. This bishop is a little precariously placed. It could maybe be trapped. d5, yeah. I mean, the aggression continues. If I take, they're going to open up the position even more. So I'm considering something like queen c7. I like this move because I defend my pawn. And also because I stop maybe pawn to d6. If pawn takes, you always have to consider that there are more tactics there with knight jumping in. I can't draw arrows because... What? Did they think they had... What was that? Why did they do that? This is what I'm talking about. These 1700s are like blowing my mind. I mean, this person played very well. I had to play defense. I was rolling with the punches, but what the heck is that? That was a terrible move, and it was played in like 10 seconds. I don't know. I mean, I have no idea. Now my bishop will establish central presence and never be removed. I also will just be able to bring my rook and defend. I expect like something continuing to be aggressive, but then I just play h5. I'm just not going to get my bishop trapped. No, Blackmar Demer gambit, this type of gambit where you gambit a center pawn and then you use your f pawn is really a very tricky opening. It's not easy to play at all. All right, knight f3. I mean, I don't know. I can short castle or long castle. Let me maybe... I mean, I am seeing there could be some real nasty stuff that happens there. I'm going to have to be really fast with my counterplay. Let's do it. Let's show. I'm going to try to show you guys how to play, you know, these positions that feel unpleasant. I don't know what that move does. I mean, you gotta attack me here. Opposite side castling, rook d4 just can't be good. Because the thing is, I'm just gonna trade pieces with you if you'd play like this, right? Like, this is not where you're attacking. When our kings are on the opposite side, you're attacking on a very specific side of the board. So now I give a check. I wasn't even really in danger there, but now I strip you of one attacking piece. Let's not forget, wait, is this just hanging, by the way? I mean, I understand that's like a very ridiculous pawn to capture. It just feels so out of the way, but can my diagonal even be interrupted? Like, can it be blocked? I don't think so. I mean, taking a second pawn can't be bad. I'm now up 2 pawns, right? Everything is solid in my position. Guys, when you castle on opposite sides and you have things in the position that are imbalanced, like 2 knights and 2 bishops, you cannot rely on slow play. When you put the kings on opposite sides of the board, it's very rare you go down the middle. It's just, you gotta attack. You know, you have to have a sense of the position that you are playing. Like, my king is here. I mean, if you don't attack me, I'll never, ever be in any danger because... Okay, now I'm maybe going to win another pawn. Wow. So, oh, this is really unfortunate. If b5 queen takes, I thought I had queen to g1 check, but it actually doesn't work. So I'm just going to take this. I'm now up 3 pawns. And by the way, let me ask you a question. What is white's winning idea? What is the winning idea for black right now? Do you have any clue? Because I'll tell you what I think it is. I think it's pushing the pawn to make a queen. Like, this is in danger, but at some point in a game, you have to realize what's going on. My opponent's going to go here and blunder mate, by the way. That's what's going to happen. They're going to go here, spotting this, and... Okay, knight e2 gives away a pawn. And let me go check to pin the knight. Now the knight is pinned, and now I play h3. So now the knight can't move without a queen trade happening. There is knight to g3. But then I would trade... Yeah, so now I would trade the queen, push. I also don't have to trade the queen. I can probably play like here, for example, and then I don't actually know. How is my opponent going to stop my promotion? Like, how do they stop the promotion? And my king is completely safe. If the knight goes to f5, I will take it instantly and queen. If you defend your knight, I play h2 and h1. So at a minimum, I'm going to win the knight in the promotion, but I don't even think I have to give away the pawn that fast. I can, like, let it sit there just for a moment. But of course, right, so this trade is easy. I wouldn't rush with this move because you could allow this, but if I just take this, how are the queen and the rook ever doing anything to... Isn't this just game over? The pawn made it all the way down the board. And, like, how did I know that, like, instantly that was the winning plan? I could just tell. White didn't have the sufficient defense. That doesn't work. White did not have the sufficient defense for that pawn, and that kind of came out of nowhere. Now, for the record, I didn't refute the opening. I actually didn't. I mean, the truth is, if you want to play against the Black Mardemer, if you're going to get this, you should take, okay? They're going to go here. You should play knight to f6. Another way is to instantly strike the center. This is going to really confuse people. Point is, if they take and you get the queens off the board, then either they lose the right to castle or they have to go backwards. And, you know, even this is fine. At least it's safe. You're never going to be checkmated. But the best way to play here, if they play bishop to g5, is to play bishop f5, and if they play f3, to play knight bd7. This is the key setup. If bishop c4 is played, which is very similar to the game that we had, you have a couple of choices here. The computer likes to take and just... The lines there, you know, they're a little bit wild. Then you go e6. You actually lose this pawn because you don't really care. You have this open b file. Also, this is hanging. Long castle never works because there's always bishop to g4. But if the opponent plays knight takes f3, again, Stockfish likes to play this position like this. It actually just takes the pawn, happily puts up these spikes to block the bishop. If the knight jumps in, it looks like a very easy position to blunder. But you just remove the knight, then you remove the queen, and then you move this knight somewhere, like here, and you survive. But there's a lot of ways to, you know, for example, white can play queen e2, and then you have to block the pin, and white is going to bring the second rook, and then you have to castle. And this looks scary, because they have all the pieces out, but it's actually not. Like, if you're smart and you trade and then you jump in the middle and you trade all the pieces, you're going to be fine. What happened in this game is I played a little too passively. I played like somebody who was respecting this opening. And, you know, right here, I played bishop e7, and white actually had a very nice position. You know, white got the center. White got the position that they wanted. But here, they need to play for an attack. Walking down the middle is fine. You will notice I didn't just kind of rush into taking. But even here... You just don't blunder your queen. Like, knight takes f6 check is blundering the queen. And by the way, even there, it's not the end of the story. These two pieces are extremely strong combined with the bishop. But, yeah, losing this pawn so quickly was... I mean, I can't even explain it. Had white gone knight f3 here, and then I would have castled, and then they would have played, like, h4, this would have been an interesting game. And also, had my opponent maybe played here, I would have taken with the queen... Because if I took with the pawn, there would have been this nasty move. And you have to spot these things. You got to spot these little tactical opportunities for the opponent as well. And, you know, if I trade the queen, we would have had a queenless middle game, which is just equal. This would have just been an equal game, and I would have showed you how to play with two bishops on a relatively open board. But in this game, I mean, you know, again, if you look at the top moves of the computer here, wow. Rook d4 is, like, actually a computer move? Really? That's kind of incredible. I mean, I don't get it, but it is what it is. What can I say? So yeah, my opponent went bishop d3, we traded, and then they just dedicated themselves to playing this gambit anyway, but they lost a move. I mean, okay. Hopefully that was a nice, way to handle the position. All right. e4. I mean, I can play a real Caro-Kann. What openings have I've not played at all. Let's go e5. Let's see what are they playing at e4, e5 at this level. Okay, knight f3, knight c6. Now, against the Spanish, I'm going to play a Schliemann variation. Ah, ha, ha, ha. All right. So, the Spanish is, of course, very, very historical opening. a6 here is the main line, Berlin. But one of the trickiest ways to play against this is the Danish Gambit, which my opponent defends. They defend against the Danish Gambit with the move d3. Had they taken, I would have, pushed, etc. There's a couple of ways to play from here. You can continue to be dedicated to this and give up the pawn. You can also take, and play knight f6. And the best move here is not knight c3. It's actually to just leave this pawn. That move might actually also be okay. I'm not sure. And the point is that now if I play bishop check, my opponent can play with the pawn. If this were to come out, of course I would just take. It would make my life a lot easier. I don't actually remember if I'm supposed to play bishop b4 or bishop c5. I'm going to go here, so my opponent needs to take the square away from their knight. But that might have been inaccurate. Okay. And now maybe I just come back and block the pin. If I go here, my bishop could be a little vulnerable in some positions, but then I'll just play d6, so maybe I'll be fine. Yeah, I don't see why I wouldn't just go here. Maybe there's going to be some b4, but then I just play bishop b6. And my next move is d6. Now, of course, to play this, you have to have a little bit of a nervous system, right? Because it's quite loose over there. We now go d6, so our center's protected. Could have maybe castled there too, but I like the fact that I could put my bishop here. And now, stopping me from castling is certainly a way to play, but it's very... Yeah, see, most people play something like that because they don't really know what they're doing. And now if I'm able to castle and tuck my king away, black is going to get a very powerful position. We just saw a game where, we had a situation where the f-file was open in the Black-Mar-Diemer gambit. When this f-file is open and there's a rook that can be used to attack, oh, it's so brutal, guys. It's so brutal because you get the queen, you get the bishop. Now, king h8 here is reasonable. Knight d2, maybe the knight's going somewhere. Maybe my opponent can play b4, etc. I kind of just want to put my bishop on this very comfortable square. I also maybe can attack the knight and see what's going on. The knight. Jet lag. The bishop. So if my opponent takes, of course, we just take with the queen. If I play h6, I highly doubt that they take, but we're going to find out. Okay, they don't take. And now maybe bishop e6, something like this. I can also unpin my queen from this little situation here, but this move strikes me as very natural, very comfortable defending, and then maybe I even play queen d7. Now, you should ask yourself, which of your bishops would you be happier to trade? Every advanced player needs to ask themselves such a question. The dark-squared bishop. That was a pretty good move. The point is that I have a bunch of pawns on dark squares. And so that means my dark squared bishop is a little bit more tradable, if you will. Now this move is okay. If I take and the knight takes, I feel like I'm helping my opponent. Wait a minute. Yeah, I think I'm helping my opponent there. There's a lot of weaknesses on this diagonal. So I think I'm going to play queen d7 here to support my bishop. Now, if my opponent plays queen b3, that's a pretty reasonable move. Applying more pressure and trying to get me to take. I might just defend my bishop, to be honest. But then the queen might threaten down here. So it's not so straightforward here for me. This is a nasty little move that could happen. I don't think it quite wins a pawn. No, definitely not. I mean, okay, that is just a weird move. That move I don't like at all. That just destabilizes this pawn. Kind of want to go g5 and like start, you know, just hammering on that side of the board. I also kind of want to go king h8. I'm not impressed with that move that was just played. You think they'll sacrifice, by the way? Let's go g5. We've kicked out the bishop. It's rare you can push pawns in such an aggressive manner where you have castled. But I like this little idea of just like forcing... Ooh, that might not work. There is a nasty combo after the move bishop g3, knight h5. The point is that my knight is hanging to the queen, and there might be knight takes g5, which sets up an attack on my bishop. Ooh. So if bishop g3, knight h5, knight g5, my bishop's hanging. If I take on c4 and they take, I can take on... Whoa! Take. What if I take... Wait a minute. No. So, folks, rule of thumb. If you ever want to attack somebody, you want to sacrifice material, you need to have 2 more attacking pieces than they have defending pieces. And that doesn't exist here. In fact, not only does it not exist, I think this move is about to come in with a massive thud. Anything that is only defended by a king, there is something there, potentially. And now this would be a double attack, and I would win back the knight. Now, that is one thing. I also can pause here for a moment and try to find something better. If queen g7, there is a fork, so that obviously is bad. And even there, if I play... Oh, that might not even be that bad, because I might have queen f7. So bishop sack here, double check, king goes back, knight takes. Only thing I'm worried about there is some sort of rook infiltration. Which I can't believe I'm saying actually looks a little scary. I mean, I don't exactly know how to stop that. I'm looking. Queen h5. Oh, I think I have it, guys. Guys, I think I have it. This is very likely to be the best move, even if you don't always see the winning idea. And obviously, if the king doesn't take, we take the rook. So more pieces for us. But again, if you're going to sacrifice pieces in front of a king like this, you need 2 more attacking pieces. That's what I call it. I call it rule of +2. 2 more attacking pieces than they have guards. Now I'm going to win 2 pawns and the knight. And you know what idea I found here after something like queen h5 or rook e3? So I found, in my head, I calculated something really nice. I don't have to guard with my queen. I'm going to guard with my knight. My king will hide behind my horse. Everything that I anticipated is happening. And now I will... I mean, I don't actually have to run now. I mean, I could play queen f7, but in general, this is an art. This is the art of defending right here. Look at this. Using my knight as a shield because it's well protected, and I'm threatening a trade. Obviously, a queen trade, you know, greatly benefits me. But on h8, I'm very safe. Now, my opponent is going to give me this check. And, I mean, I can just run to the corner now, right? I've survived the worst. Rook f1 is impossible. Rook f3 will probably be played. And then I play queen g7, and I'm guaranteed a trade. So there you go. And this is a... No, that's not a threat. Now it's a threat. Kaboom. And white resigns. The counterattack is vicious. White does not resign. White goes down a rook. Now white resigns. Nope. Now white resigns. Brutal. It's tough. Defending is an art. You got to be really good at anticipating your opponent's ideas. You see? And I saw that my king would be a little open, but I found this knight shield idea. And that's why I'm 3,000 online, you know? Opponent does not resign anyway. Now opponent resigns. Now opponent there we go. All right, it took a little while, but we got there. Guys, e4, e5, Yanish gambit, Schliemann variation of the Spanish. actually reminds us of a Vienna Gambit with whites. When you play white, e4, e5, Queen's Knight comes out, and then you play this kind of King's Gambit pawn structure. This is basically the same position, except here black gets another move. Otherwise, white would be winning. So in this game, if they take, they just get themselves into trouble, because this comes in, they have to move the knight. They could go here. There's a very famous trap here. Bishop takes, Queen e2. Is that the idea? Is that the trap? There is a trap. What is the trap? There's the trap, and I'm not remembering the trap. Anyway. What is the trap? There's a trap where the queen goes to h5 with check, but anyway. This was played instead, which is the best move. And then I traded and went knight f6, and this move is fine. This move gives white a very difficult game after bishop b4. Because basically what we do is we damage the position and we don't let the knight jump in. Then we put everything on a dark square, and our play is super simple. Because even if we're checked, we hide our king and we play bishop g4, queen e8, queen h5, or knight h5, knight f4. This structure is very solid for us, and they don't get to exploit our light squares. And actually, yeah, I played correctly. This was a good move. And then I went here. Very smart, by the way, because if I play bishop c5, then they castle, and then it's too late to pin them because they have knight d5 coming in, right? So it's important that you want to pin that knight early. In this game, I played pretty intelligent. Okay, h6. And here, bishop e6 was maybe not the best, actually. What Stockfish is recommending is I leave the bishop exactly where it is to prevent this trade. I develop my final piece, but actually this allows white to trade off my bishop. Whereas if I played a6 and they gave me check, my bishop is an attacking weapon just from its home square, which is quite interesting, right? I mean, I've kind of played like a lazy developing move, but it was better maybe even to just like go off of this diagonal, not have any weaknesses. Yeah, there you go. That's quite a fascinating thing. Here, maybe white should have went queen b3, put some pressure on my bishop. Had I gone like here, for instance, then after takes and takes, you take on b7, this could be a very big problem for me. So actually, against queen b3, I was going to go maybe knight back to d8. Because this pawn nerfs my knight's forward jumps. So I can go back, defend this, maybe kick out the bishop. If takes, I take with a knight. And then if this, obviously the queen is getting trapped. Or at a minimum, I'm winning the pawn on b2. But what happened in the game was, rook e1, and I could tell immediately, this felt weird. This felt weird. It destabilized the king, and it stared into its own pawn. And then I launched this attack, and so the line here that I had calculated was knight h5, which I thought was really nice, because I'm attacking the bishop, and it has to move. But yeah, look, knight h5 is actually +3, because there is this insane counter. And everything opens in favor of white. That's very interesting. You gotta spot these things from a distance. You see how I'm spotting these things from a distance? I'm picking up on the tactical themes in the position, which is in my next book. The last level of tactical understanding is fueling regular play and plans through the underlying tactical motifs. The reason this works now is that I have to take the bishop, and instead of taking the bishop, they take my knight. So this is hanging, and even though I can take this, I'm losing here. I mean, my king is terrible. But this sacrifice is bad. This is a bad sacrifice, and I might even put this into a future book. Because that white just doesn't have enough fuel in the engine to land the plane from this position. After this trade, even if I was scared and went back and offered a trade, you only have a horse. Nobody ever won a battle with just one horse. Maybe a dragon, that's a whole other thing that I can understand. But yeah, and then comes this haymaker, and I had to calculate. Notice my opponent played these moves very quickly, because when you're down material in chess, you have to complicate things. You have to create a little bit of chaos. And in this case, they tried to create chaos by attacking my king, but unfortunately, I had too many defenders because they didn't follow the rule of +2. So that's the rule of +2. Don't sacrifice material in front of your king so quickly. I mean, I can play some other openings, you know? I mean, I've been playing a lot of e4 and d4. I can play a ready. I can play a Catalan. I don't know. Let me know what you want me to play in the comments. The Ponziani's a nice opening, knight f3. Let's play another Scotch. Little 1800 level Scotch masterclass. We play the Scotch opening. Let's see how well prepared my opponent is. Will they take? Taking is bad. The two best moves are bishop c5 and knight to f6. Oh, queen h4 is very tricky, actually. Queen h4 is a very tricky line. It's so tricky that I don't actually remember what to play here. Oh, man. I don't remember what to play. I think there's something like knight to b5. I think that might be the best move. And you attack this pawn, and you lose this pawn with check. Basically, the idea here is that if you play something like knight c3, they come in with the pin. That's sort of the point. Now, I think I'm still going to maybe go for that. And if I take on c6, there is this. And also, queen d3 protects everything, but queen d3 is a little bit passive. Let me just try to remember. Knight to b5, queen takes. I can block. If they take on g2, I always have bishop f3 stuff. I think it's knight b5. I'm going to go here. They're probably going to think I'm cheating. Because, to be honest, when your opponent takes a lot of time in the opening and then plays the best move, it's extremely tilting. It is very, very tilting. I am wondering what to play against bishop c5. Okay, they play bishop c5. Wow. Did I play the wrong move? Was I supposed to play knight c3 and then knight b5? Fascinating stuff. No idea. Don't know what I'm doing. Driving a little blind here. I'm not going to lie. Queen could go to any square now. I kind of like queen e2. Feels like it's defending everything. Maybe the bishop is going to go back to b6 then, and then we trade it. Let's do that. Queen e2. Also, there's knight d4, which I guess I would just take and then develop the rest of my pieces. Then I can finish my development with g3 and bishop g2 and castle, by the way. So now I'm in a position, I've never been in a position like this before, ever, with white, ever. So you're actually going to get to see me, try to figure things out totally on the fly here. I've never had a position like this with white, so let's use my chess experience, my complete lack of opening knowledge, and hopefully the opponent is not like using their own opening book. Hopefully we're just playing on our own. Let's see what we come up with. I'm looking at quickly getting castled. This is still a threat. I do think the best move is bishop b6, because then I don't have this threat at all. And after bishop b6, a6, I have to step back. So originally against bishop b6, I wanted to go here and here, but I don't have enough time to do that. Because bishop b6, knight c3, a6, I have to go back, and I hate that. So against bishop b6, I'm almost thinking to just play bishop e3. I have to say I don't know what black's best move is. It could be king d8. There's these really weird moments where actually defending with the king and losing the right to castle is the best move, because you don't sacrifice development, you don't make your pieces less active. Like, king d8 permanently stops me taking that, whereas this move doesn't. Queen d8 does the same, but now the queen is really passive, and I don't think this is very good. So now I'm thinking trade the bishop and make progress in the position. Like, get my queen out, get my bishop. This is coming, right? So let's go bishop e3. Let's try to play where we trade, we regain control of our center. They're going to go a6. Then I could actually put the knight exactly where it was. So I can go back to d4 and then play knight c3. I don't really want to get in the way of my other knight, although I can. But the other, let's just go back to where why not? Let's make some trades. And now if the opponent plays takes, and queen f6, okay, that's very passive, but could be fine maybe. Now we develop. And now I'm going to long castle. Because obviously that, the position feels like a long castle's position. Opponent, of course, should not play d5 here. That would be really stupid. The king is in the middle, right? And now I long castle. Okay, so now we're going to have a scrappy game. We've castled on opposite sides. I'm looking at pushing these pawns. I'm looking at opening the lines. Bishop d3, bishop c4. Probably at some point black needs to counterattack. I'm expecting knight takes and putting the knight on c6. If that happens, I probably take here with the queen. Putting the rook there is a little clumsy. Okay, d6 is a bit passive. I haven't finished my development. I could start an attack. Let's do that. I don't see anything wrong with immediately declaring battle here. H4, H5, I'm looking to storm. I still think they should take. To the point that I maybe the best move was actually retreating and not letting them take it. Because the more pieces you trade, the less powerful of an attack white gets here. So there is something to be said, like maybe I needed to move my knight back, but I mean, this is clearly the way the position should be played. You need to play H4, H5, etc. F3, G4, you know, there's even something to be said for the fact that my position could be better with no G-pawn or H-pawn. That move is bad. I think that move is bad. Now, of course, they're looking at knight G4, but can you really get away with that? Like, is that really, that doesn't strike me as correct. They're maybe going to use my pieces here as like a bit of a piñata. I still want to push my pawn all the way to H6. Can I do that? I don't see why not, because this is a major issue for black. They probably have to play H6 themselves. And then I either go bishop E2 to stop this entirely, or F3. I don't like F3, because then I can't play F4. But I like F3 because then I can play G4, and maybe knight F5. And that feels like progress. At some point, something's going to happen over here. That's when I'm going to, get out of the position and retreat. But C5 weakens D6. Knight G4. So where do we put our queen? Here, 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 here. E1 so I can play F3 next, or D2 so I can play F3 next. I don't know. They both look okay. D2 maybe? E1, D2, D2, E1. From E1 I'm a little more flexible maybe, but from D2 I can keep an eye on D6. I don't know. I actually don't know. But I don't like that you've just you've walked the knight directly into my trap. I'm going to play F3 next. And now if you play C5, when I go knight B3, not only do I attack the pawn on D6, I'm also attacking the pawn on C5 because there's a pin. So, do I trade? I can't play bishop E2 because then there's knight takes pawn. So I'm going to go here. But this gives me time. Black is giving me time to fuel my power here. I'm not loving this. Ooh, and now G4 maybe. Ooh, and now G4 maybe. Yeah, you see how black made a lot of pawn moves, and black is a lot of knight moves. And I've made a lot of pawn moves, and this hasn't gotten going yet. Black is kind of playing ping pong with the knight. It's not good. Bishop here, and then I'm gonna bring my rook, and then I'm gonna if my pawns get moving, it's over. Like, you have to hope I don't get moving with my pawns here. That's actually not a terrible move, trying to block everything. But bringing the rook over to prepare another pawn attack just... Knight F5 is also good, but I'm not rushing. I'm waiting for them to weaken themselves. Because if C5, Knight F5, this is weak. Knight C6 is not a bad move, inherently. It's not a bad move, but now Knight F5, and I'm potentially opening up the position there. Also, if I take, I open up this, so I don't really want to do that. Let's go Knight F5. Now, the queen trade could happen here. This queen trade could happen, but I'm blocking it. I'm not allowing a queen trade. Knight G5, just keep... The goal is to get all of this going. This move threatens this, but I just go here. King B1 is also a very useful move in every position. Now I've opened the G file. Now things are getting even more dangerous for black. Black is going to have to put up some massive resistance here. Knight G5 could be the way to do it, actually, and then maybe F6, but still F4. That's the key. The key is that if you try to block the G file, it's not very blockable. You know what I mean? Can I take this? Yes. Yes. That was missed. Lost in all of this is that the second the G file opened, that was a concept called continuity, which is in my next book, How to Win at Chess Next Level. Continuity. And now you suffer with the position and everything else. I mean, of course, I'm not gonna... I mean, I could trade the queen and maybe play H6, but I mean, come on. We're trying to build your killer instinct here. You can't be out here trading the queen. I mean, I don't know if queen F4 or queen E3 is a better move. I don't know which one of these is better. I kind of want to preserve the option to play F4 in some positions. So I don't know which of the retreating moves is better. Let's go queen E3, because I don't know. I like preserving the option to play f4. Also, knight d5 is coming in. I think black has to play c6 here. You have to anticipate knight to d5. If knight d5, or you need to go king h8 to get out of this pin, because I'm also going to come in with my pawn next. But this is all just bad. It's all just bad. Knight d5 is coming. f4 is there. Getting my bishop out. Yeah. This is a little masterclass here, and how to break apart the 1800s, you know? Opposite side castling. We've seen this a couple of times today. How to handle a position where you have to cultivate some initiative. And there I tried to maneuver from an opening I never played before, so very tricky opening in the Scotch. This fourth move, queen h4. But this is just lost. This never got going, and I'm going to tell you, like, the best move in this position was almost certainly something with b5. Because they never got their position going. The position is so good for me that at some point I could even maybe sacrifice the rook like this, because you're going to open up every line to the king, especially if the king is in the corner and I have a bishop on this diagonal. My opponent is deep in thought because I don't know what you can do here. It's too late to play b5. I'm telling you, the best move is c6. I don't think you can play anything that's not c6 here. You can maybe go king h8 to stop h6, but h6 there could be g6. Okay, king h8 is played. Knight d5 would push the queen back. I mean, this has to be the best move. Not even because I'm threatening to win anything. It's just the next move is f4. It's initiative. I'm playing with, you know, energy. All my moves are coming in with a thud. When the queen goes back, I could play f4. I could also try to hit on h6 first, just to open up the king completely. And queen c3 attacks c7. We can't forget. So yeah, this is tough. This is a tough position. I would love if I was doubled already, but I'm sadly not. That's a good idea, but it blunders the knight. And I mean, most people just crumble under the pressure, and that's sort of what happened there. Yeah, my opponent, I'm going to put this up 160. Yeah. It was a dominant Scotch win for us. We thwarted the early attack. And we are now well on our way to a strong, strong victory. I'm still not going to sacrifice, by the way. I don't think it's the best move. Let's poke at the king with our you know, flankmost pawn. G6, we're always taking. Any diagonal that opens to the king, we are ready. We are right there. King is going to have no defense near it soon, and checkmate is about 5 moves away. There is no way to defend this position. None. This is not even the best move, but I'm gonna, you know, I'm just gonna trade. Takes. I mean, yep. And now probably the most ruthless finish here. Queen h6 is good, but if queen h6, there is a queen trade that can happen. I love this move. This is just ruthless. You disconnect all of the pieces from communicating to each other. If knight takes, I get in with the queen. And then my next move is rook to g7 and queen h6. So if the opponent tries to fight back now, I play rook g7, they take, queen h6. They could sack their queen, actually. They could. Yeah, this is just truly ruthless. And I don't have to take that. Now I give the check. The difference is that now the only move is to go back with the knight, and this is mate. So, queen h4 Scotch. Oh, okay, knight b5 is okay. The best move is knight c3, bishop b4, and then bishop e2. I thought I knew that, and then after queen e4, then you play knight b5. I mixed it up. I played knight b5 a little bit too early. And then the point is that after bishop takes, you take with a pawn, still threatening this. If they go back with the queen, you have f4, which wins. And if they take on g2, you have knight c7, king d8, bishop f3, which wins. So the best move in that position is to defend with the king. But then you castle, you have two bishops, you have open space against the queen, you can get your bishops out. Yeah, in the game I went here, and then I just, I played a normal game. I played a very chill, normal game. And look, in this position, guys, I was telling you, the best thing for my opponent to do is to take the knight and probably play knight c6 and b5. And sure enough, this is one of the best moves. And then I would play h4, and then they would play d6, h5, stop me. I would continue my attack. They would go knight c6. I'm just playing the top line of the computer. And then they would, try to attack. But yeah, in the game, this knight jump maneuver cost them a ton of time. And then it was too late. Rook g1, knight f5. Game over. That is how you play opposite side castling games. That is how you deal with aggressive stuff in the opening and play unfamiliar positions. Hope you enjoyed episode 45 of the Slow Run. As always, these episodes are brought to you by me. You can pre-order a book, already 12,000 pre-orders. Appreciate you all very much. You can get it right on Amazon. Go pre-order it. It helps a lot. Trying to become a two-time New York Times best-selling author with the best community in the world. So if I've helped you over the years and you want to take your chess to the next level, that's what that book is for. It drops in October the 6th. And also I will be doing 3 book events in New York and New Jersey, because I'm obviously based on the East Coast. So I'll put a link in the top line of the description as well for you if you would like to go to one of the launch week book events where you will get a signed copy of the book, meet me, do a little Q&A, etc. And obviously I'm going on tour in Europe. So those are your shout outs at the end of the episode. We'll cross 1800 in episode 46. Get out of here.